Doggy, let's go for a walk, all right? Yeah, we're walking the dog. Hi, I'm Jason.
Hi, I'm Sarana.
Yep, you saw it right. That's the title. 15 different places in 25 years. We'll tell you all about it.
So let me talk about my childhood experience as far as moving goes. So I was born in Inner Mongolia, China. That's very north part of China, 45 minutes away, flying away from Beijing. And as early as I can remember, I always dreamed of going to Disneyland. I don't know why, but I just have this urge of wanting to go to Disneyland. When I was about 10, 11 years old, my dad had an opportunity to go to work for a company in Tokyo, Japan. Because of that, my very first move was to Tokyo, Japan, from that small town in Inner Mongolia. After moving to Japan at age about 12 or 13, the dream of going to Disneyland, it became more real since in Japan they had a Disneyland back then. So that's my very first move. And my second move came to me when I was in high school in Japan. I attended an international language school, and so they had an exchange program that provided opportunity to come to the U.S. To advance or learn more English that way. So I applied for the program, and I ended up stayed in Florida. I was placed in Florida, homestaying for a year. So during that 1 year, I've learned. Well, I want to, point out that both transitions from China to Japan, from Japan to America, it was definitely a culture shock for me. I learned to adapt fairly quickly in terms of environment. I have to learn language quickly so I can communicate with others. I think that was the only way for me to make friends and for me to feel comfortable in the environment. Because of the experience I had back then, I've learned to adapt quickly, be more flexible with everything that comes my way, and to learn another language quickly. So I've learned the best way to learn a new language is to be immersed in the country, in the culture. And I definitely watch a lot of TVs, and that really helped me to, learn the language a lot faster. Then that brings us to when we met.
Right.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, in 1997, there were a number of different circumstances that led me to travel back and forth to Japan, but ultimately, I moved to Japan in 1998 to begin a career as an English language teacher. So that's my first teaching job. And so that was a big transition coming from America. And at that time, I lived in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area. So from San Francisco, flying to Japan, big culture shock. A lot of different things I had to learn, like some of the language, a lot of the culture. And after a short time of being there, I met this beautiful person right next to me. And so that is how we came to live in our first place in Tokyo after meeting, falling in love. Our first place that we lived was in a little small city called Mogusayan, which is about, I want to say, maybe 30 minutes by train outside of downtown Tokyo in more of a suburb. And so that's the first place we lived. That's where we started our life together. And that is where we were living when we got married in 1999.
Yeah, so if some of you might know that in Japan, the living space, the space of apartments are very, very small, very tiny. So because of that experience, we're not, how do I put it? We're not
Not too picky.
not too picky, yeah,
Right.
not too picky with the apartment size
Yes.
or what's in it, what's not in it,
Right.
because we know whatever it is, a shoebox, we'll be able to live in there and make adjustment.
Yeah, we had a very small apartment. They call it a rokujo. It's like a tatami with like 6 different like partitions, and literally the next room was the kitchen and the bathroom. It's just one little shoebox basically that we learned to live
In
in.
America, we call it closet. So that was the size, okay? So then eventually after we got married in Japan, and then we decided to come back to the U.S.
Yes.
And so initially we said, what do we do? And so Jason's stepbrother,
half-brother.
half-brother, offered his house, you know, just for us temporarily.
In the Seattle area.
Yeah, in the Seattle, Washington, here in the U.S.,
Yeah.
which is also north part of U.S.
Absolutely.
So then we went to Seattle, Washington, and to stay with him.
Yeah. And we thought it was going to be great. You know, we wanted to go to a place where, you know, it was up and coming. There were a lot of different careers and all that stuff, but quickly turned into an unpleasant living situation.
Yeah.
And so we were only there for about 3 months. We quickly realized that.
Was it only 3 months?
Yeah, it was
oh my
only 3
gosh,
months.
it felt forever. It was so terrible.
It was
I'm sorry
pretty
to say,
terrible.
but
It had to
was
do
terrible.
with, you know, I don't know, kind of
Yeah, I
latent
mean-
sibling rivalry. I don't really know. It was just,
Yeah.
it was really toxic. That's the word.
Yeah,
So
toxic.
we had to leave, and so we found ourselves having to leave, scramble, really.
Yeah, you know, from homeless
Yeah.
to homeless again. Okay, so it was not fun because we were such a young couple,
Right.
and you know, you want to start your life in
Yeah.
a positive way, but it wasn't. Turned out it wasn't right.
Right.
The initial move.
Absolutely.
But luckily, we had more family members. Jason's aunt and uncle graciously, it really was a really emergency time for
Yes,
us.
it was.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were
emergency
in between sleep in the car or sleep on the street.
Right. So we went from Tokyo to Seattle and quickly had to scramble all the way down to Gilroy, California. It's more like San Martin is the
Yeah,
the
it's
area.
beautiful, another beautiful place.
Yes.
So we drove from Seattle, Washington, all the way to California, to his uncle and aunt's house.
Right,
Oh,
right.
what a 180.
It was a complete 180 where we
Yeah.
were greeted with love, you know, and open arms, and so we felt much better.
Yes, I mean, we felt so blessed.
Yes, we did.
And then we were there for a long time,
We were
actually.
there,
Yeah.
about 10 months
10 months,
approximately.
yeah.
And then we got on our feet. And my wife mentioned we actually literally got on our feet after not having a home, and, you know, we got a job. And so we decided to move down to, are we keeping count? This is like our 4th place in Salinas, California.
Yeah, so because we were able to stay with the uncle and Jason was able to get a job, so we were able to come up with some money
Yeah.
for, to run the place. So we were able to, again, rent in Salinas. And the reason we chose that place during nighttime is because it was extremely cheap.
A lot
Okay.
cheaper than it would have been to live in, any place in the Bay Area. And
Yeah,
so-
back then it was cheap, so we say, you know what, this will be our first place to be.
Absolutely.
So after Salinas and Jason was working at the company, and then we decide, you know what do we do? We want to have a career, right? So we really
Right.
want to have how about, since you're such a great teacher in Japan, do you want to be a teacher and
Wow.
get your teaching credentials? And then eventually that's what he decided he wanted to be a teacher,
While
right?
living in Salinas.
While
yeah.
living in Salinas. So then now with the teaching credentials, he will have to study a lot.
Yeah.
So we say, you know what, why don't you quit your job now.
Yeah.
And let's go to an area that is even cheaper.
Yeah.
So that I can work full time, and then he can quickly, get that
Right.
teaching credential.
And part of the reason we decided to do that is because, my first teaching job, I was working on what's called an emergency credential. It's not a real teaching credential. It's just something that schools give when they need to fill positions. And so because of that, at the time, it was very difficult to continue working there because, I wasn't official. And so as my wife said, we needed to go to a place where I could focus on getting my real credential, which means I had to go back to school really in order to get the credential. So we decided to move from Salinas all the way up to a city called Roseville, California, which is near the Sacramento area. But yes, much cheaper.
If you guys don't know, Los Angeles is not the capital of California.
That's true.
It's Sacramento. I didn't know that, until I got here. So basically, Roseville is a little bit north over the capital from, and then it was a lot cheaper. So we did research. We say, okay, that would be our place temporarily until he gets his credential. And Roseville was lovely, and it was hot.
Very hot.
So it was very hot, and then it was a brand new apartment, actually, believe it or not. It was new development, and we really enjoyed that apartment there, except the weather, I think.
Yeah, just scorching hot in the summer.
Yeah, and
it was not fun.
We had a little, small town feels there. You pretty much, talk to your lovely neighbors and go for walks with them at night.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Much smaller town, but ultimately we just decided that it just wasn't for us. We tried it, and I was able to work very hard thanks to my wife, who actually was working and supporting us during that time. I was able to get my credentials, so really hats off to you for working so hard. My goodness. My wife supported me to get my credential, and so we ultimately decided, you know what, Roseville is not really the place, and so we decided
also, I think another thing is, so what places, how many?
This is number 5.
Number 5, okay. So the number 5, okay. So this was, in between Salina, in between Gilroy to Salina to Roseville. It was really fairly quickly, right? Within 2-3 years of time.
Yes.
And so once he got his credential, and I also wanted to go back to college, right? Because initially when we met, I just finished high school.
Yes.
And so I want to go back to college. And then we say, okay, now what? Remind me, what's the next place?
Well, it's a little tricky now. So we decided to leave Roseville to go to place number 6. And on the place number 6, we were only at maybe 3 or 4 days, or I don't even know, because there was a problem because we had 2 dogs and there was a misunderstanding that dogs weren't allowed. And so the owner said, you can't stay with those dogs. And we said, oh God, okay. And so we had to find another place, and that brought us to Archstone, Los Padres Village, which is in the city of Santa Clara, California. So this is our 7th place.
Okay, why can't I remember that place? Hold on. Was it Los
Archstone, Los Padres Village is really close to China Sticks.
Okay. Okay, well, fine. Okay.
China Sticks is a restaurant.
So anyway, we were there. So there was our favorite Chinese restaurant there. So we often, at this point, he was working, starting as a brand new teacher.
Yes.
And I was still working.
Yes, you were.
And then so we were able to, for the very first time, I feel like we felt like, okay, life is comfortable.
We felt good. Yeah, we felt like I had a teaching job, and you were working, and we said, you know what? We need to try to buy a place.
Yeah, and then we felt comfortable. We were eating out all the time. When you eat out all the time, that means you made it.
That's the sign.
In America, at least. So then we decided to buy something. You're right.
Yes,
okay.
And because I was a teacher, I was able to get quite a bit of assistance as a, they call it first-time home buyer program for teachers specifically. And it was a huge, big, giant ordeal. I was able to get this first-time teacher mortgage, the mayor of San Jose. I think what was it, like the 100th teacher? I don't even know what it was. 100.
Well, anyway, yeah.
But anyway, we got this wonderful mortgage package. The mayor of the city of San Jose came in and we took pictures, and so we owned our home in San Jose.
Yeah, back then.
Condo.
Yeah, so with that help, with their city's help, and we were able to own a condo at such a young age. I think I was only 23 or 24. We were able to, own something. I mean, that's pretty awesome,
pretty
right?
amazing. This is place number 8, by the way.
Yeah, and so after a couple years living there, I was during that time going to what we call it a community college here in the U.S. Community college is only 2 years. You get your basically your AA degree, meaning your your math and science and English and all that ready, and then you can transfer to a 4-year college. Okay, so I took a theater class, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, so much so that I told Jason one day, I want to be an actress. Well, should we go to New York or Los Angeles? Because I'm just going to be an actress.
Yeah, and you did that.
And then because of that, we say, okay, well, now what do we do? Do we sell this place? We ended up deciding to come to LA.
Yeah.
So we said, do we sell this place? Do we lease it out? We did need some cash to move. So we decided to sell you want to take him?
Yeah, let me take this dog.
We ended up deciding to sell the place, and well, even back then, the San Jose area was this Bay Area, Northern California was such a hot real estate.
Yes,
so
it was.
we were able to make a lot of money from that.
We were able to sell pretty quickly.
Yeah, sell quickly, and it was basically gave us quite a bit of cash to move to Los Angeles.
Yes.
So when we're here, you want to talk about where we lived here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, absolutely.
First?
It was an interesting thing. Actually, my wife had to go back to China really quick to attend a wedding, and so I had to move down to Los Angeles by myself with 2 dogs, which we did. But the great thing about that is we chose Santa Monica to live, which at that time was absolute beautiful, the best place you can ever imagine. I mean, just you could walk to the beach, walk to these wonderful restaurants. I mean, that was one of the funnest places for us to live.
Yeah, we're talking 20 years ago, Santa Monica. It was just gorgeous.
Yes.
It was, I mean, how do I put it? I mean, if you coming from another state or another area to Los Angeles for the first time, I think that was perfect place
At that time.
for the first timers to be here.
Yeah.
So then once we moved there, of course, I say, you know what, instead of getting a regular job, I'm just going to go into acting.
Yeah.
That's another thing because another episode because my acting business actually took off.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to have been in so many different movies, so many TV shows.
It's a funny story for me because she would meet like my idols, right, and not know who it was, like Jeff Goldblum, Christopher Walken.
Well, I know who Jackie Chan was.
Jackie Chan, Gene Simmons.
Yeah, Gene Simmons. We can
Lord.
insert some pictures somewhere here. So
I think they know.
And then we the most the acting job that I did that I'm most proud of was to be modeling on the stage of Oscars.
Yes.
So that was absolutely, it was just,
That was amazing.
what is my life situation?
And you
I
definitely,
couldn't believe it.
Yeah, she definitely succeeded. She worked really hard. She got her SAG card. She became a member of the Screen Actors Guild. And so I would have to say that you actually did what you wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So from Santa Monica, next thing we say, you know what, renting is just, we feel like we're throwing money away, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we use, whatever money that we had let's try to purchase another property here. Again, I'm still in my 20s and 27, 28. So that's what we decided to do.
Absolutely. We decided to get another condo, and this one was still in Los Angeles. It was a little bit further away from Santa Monica. So all that fun, beautiful Santa Monica living we gave up in order to become homeowners. And so we lived in the new home that we purchased for about 6 years. It's kind of like in the middle of Los Angeles, not really downtown.
It's in Culver City.
Yeah, right at the top of Culver City.
Yeah, it's called Culver City, and it's really still sort of West LA area.
Yeah.
But back then, I think it's just become popular.
Yeah.
Not as popular yet.
Yeah.
And then so we say, okay, well, let's purchase it. And then so again, we lived there 6 years. We even had our daughter there.
Yes, we did.
Once we had our daughter, I don't know, for those of you who lives in other country, there was actually a really bad housing crash back in 2008. Okay,
Yeah.
so we purchased right before that, and which we kind of got into the same situation as many of Americans.
Absolutely.
We ended up lost the property.
Yes, we did.
But that turned out to be a blessing just because the economy was so bad.
Yeah.
The rental market was very affordable.
Yeah.
So we were able to find somewhere next to Santa Monica. I know we're back in the area.
Yeah.
And we were able to find a very nice townhouse there for a very cheap price
Yes.
To rent.
Absolutely.
So that really was a blessing. And our neighbors
We loved it. We
they
had a
were
really
just amazing.
supportive community in this new sort of building that we lived in.
And many of them had little toddlers, which was
Yes.
perfect for our daughter. And back then she was just little 2-year-old, right?
Yeah.
It was, now think back, it was a blessing.
I had a lot
Yeah.
of fond memories of that place, and Serrana's parents came over, mother and stepfather, and so we built a wonderful life there.
Yep.
Trying to think why we left.
No, I'm gonna tell you why we left. So once
I
my
remember. I
daughter
remember.
turned 3, I pretty much, until then, I pretty much just want to do whatever I want to do. Okay, I want to be an actress. I did it. Okay,
Yes, you did.
but that just wasn't going to work for me. Even though people are telling me, "Why don't you go back? Why don't you go back to acting?"
Yeah.
If people who are in acting business, you pretty much on set for 12 to 16 hours a day,
Not easy.
and I wasn't going to miss my daughter's, childhood, just because I'm in acting business. So.
beautiful.
At this point, I say, okay, well, I still have that college to finish. I need to get some degree so I can get a 9-to-5 job, so I can, still be with my daughter and Jason. So at that time, I decided to look into what I need to do, and eventually I found the degree that I wanted to complete, which the college was located in about 30 minutes from where we used to live. Because of night schools and different hours here, we decided to move to that
Yes.
next to the college, so we
Right.
don't have to commute. I don't have to commute so much.
After driving all around Southern California, looking at different colleges, to Pomona, to downtown Los Angeles, we decided to settle in the city of Northridge.
Yeah, so that was the place. We decided to go, and we moved to this very nice apartment.
Yes.
Again, it was a similar renting price as what we were renting in West LA.
Absolutely.
Which helped, and it was so close to my college, my daughter's school, elementary school, and Jason's work. So
Right.
it was worked perfectly. So we lived there. I lost track. I mean, 7, 8,
Yeah.
number 7, number 8. This right now.
Well, yeah, I think, what is this? 8, 9, 10, I don't even remember, but we liked the place. But there was a problem.
It was a major problem. So
One day,
one night there was I want to say past 1 a.m. in the morning, we heard this fire alarm in our hallway. And I thought nothing of it. I said, well, that can't be a fire here. And when I opened the door, there was strong sense of smoke, right?
Yeah.
The smell just came to you, and I realized, wow, there is a fire, and we lived on the 3rd floor, and we need to figure out how we can get down to the 1st floor without hurting ourselves. So, because of that,
our daughter, you know, it was a really traumatic experience for our daughter. She had to be what, about 5?
5 or 6,
5 or 6. We said, we can't stay here.
Yeah, after that, she just pretty much said, I'm scared.
Yeah.
So then, okay, let's find a new place.
So yeah, we looked north in the city of Santa Clarita and settled actually in a city called Valencia. We found a really lovely townhome there. And that became the next place that we lived. Just wonderful place.
Valencia, Santa Clarita, how do we put it? It's a city designed for people who wants to be active. So they have all these walking
trails,
and you can bike there with your family. You can walk your dogs there. You can just walk.
Yeah.
And it were all over the city. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
I think would have been perfect for a lot of retirees, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because you can just stay there. We really enjoyed that
Loved
city.
it there.
Yeah.
But then I got a call one day. They said, I'm so glad you liked the place, but the owner has decided to sell.
Yeah, so the owner wants to sell the place. So now what, right? So that was about a year and a half into it. Oh, Hiro, you want to say something?
You want to say something? Come on up here.
Really enjoyed it. The commute was a little far from the college, but we didn't mind because we were going to work, schools all together, then we'll all come back together.
Right.
So it was kind of like a family event, remember?
Yes, I do.
Our daughter was having great time in the car every day. Sometimes we might grab some yummy food on the way home. So it was wonderful time, and we really enjoyed the city. Unfortunately, the owner was selling the place, so then we say, okay, well, let's take this opportunity to go back to Northridge, so we'll be closer to our schools.
To work and school.
And to work again, and plus, it's easier, right? For us. So then
we were lucky. To find this house. It wasn't even on the market yet, but we were working with a property management company, and the lady said, you know what? There's a place. It's not even out yet, but I think you might like it. And so we went to look at the place. It wasn't even ready. The owner was there, said, it's not ready. And we said, that's okay, we'll still take it.
Yeah,
and so,
it was a wonderful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with huge backyard.
It was
okay, there was
amazing.
lemon trees there. It was apple tree. I mean, it was just unbelievable. We say, well, how do we get so lucky?
We're loving life.
Yeah, and the price was barely a couple hundred more than the Santa Clarita townhouse. So we're like, you know what, this is meant to be.
And what happened? I forgot.
He's being sarcastic. Okay, a couple of years into it, the owner wants to sell the property again.
Sell it again.
So we, this time around, fortunate or unfortunate, it was during the pandemic. Well, when there's about 20,000 people dying a day, during that time, you just, you actually just want to stay home and not go anywhere.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we had to get out of house.
Yeah, we had to move smack in the middle of the pandemic because the owner was selling the property.
Yeah. So, but now looking back, that was another blessing just because during the pandemic, all the rentals were cheaper again.
Yes,
so
that's a good point.
We honestly, after school, by that time we already finished school. Yeah. My daughter is, she got into a very nice school that she can actually live anywhere. She doesn't have to live next to the school. She can live anywhere. It's a magnet school, and she still can attend. So because of that, we say, you know what, now we can just live anywhere we want.
Yeah.
So we decided to come back to West LA
West Los
because Santa Monica, West LA is what we always felt the most
Most comfortable.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And so, but because for the longest time we weren't able to come back because the rental market is just extremely
Right.
double, triple
Right.
the amount that we used to pay. So, but during the pandemic, because of that situation, the rental was very, very affordable again. So we took that opportunity, and that was about 5 years ago, and we moved back to West LA.
And we love it.
Yes, we still love it
So
very much.
why would we be moving to France? Well, after living where we are for 5 years and really starting to feel the effects of stress on our health and happiness, even though we love where we live, we decided, you know,
You mean the stress not from where we live?
no, not from where we live, but just from working.
Yeah, from work, from things.
Yeah.
It just, I guess this country has to be the longest place for me to stay.
Sure.
I like to usually it seems like my life is about moving to a different country every 5 years, but yeah, I have been here for more than 20 years, and looking at our current situation, everything else, and then we thought this right now would be perfect time for us to move to another country.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting too because we live in Los Angeles. We've been to Disneyland more times than we can count, and we're actually flying to another country that has a Disneyland, Euro Disney.
Yeah, can't wait to go there. So we feel currently that, with any move to France, move to anywhere in the world, we don't feel so scared or frightened, just because both of us lived in other countries and we're very adaptable and flexible.
Absolutely.
Again, we are confident. I'm confident that within a couple of years I'll be able to speak the language
Absolutely.
with some hard work, study. And then in long run, I think it'd be good place to be. But you never know because of our history moving. We could be moving different places in France as well.
In France, we don't know yet, but
maybe we might try another country someday. I don't know. We don't know the future, but
Or we'll fall in love with France and never leave.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll have to, explore different areas when we're there.
Yeah. One thing our life experience has taught us is that the world has no boundaries. There are no limits. The only boundaries that exist are the ones inside your mind, and that's never been something in our minds. So we can go anywhere as long as we have each other. Sky is the limit, so to speak.
And then from my own experience, I've noticed that other culture, like me, there's just so much to learn. And on top of that, most of the time, people are so nice. It's really about people.
Yes.
They're just so caring. They were always willing to give you helping hands to help you with whatever you need. So all these facts and made us feel very confident in moving to France.
Yes, and we have a lot of things, love and light, to bring with us on our move, and so we look forward to sharing that.
Yep. So we actually encourage any of the viewers, if you want to do something, you want to move to another country, if you want to explore different things, I think just do it. It's you won't regret, because whatever, and I know I'm not saying it's easy, but if you do it and you move forward towards your goals, your dreams, it's always the outcome is always very, very amazing and positive.
Well said. Absolutely. And so France is going to be, did we lose count? France is going to be Sweet 16.
Sweet 16 places in last 20 years. So yeah, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Okay, now you sleep.